Please be seated. Order members. Order members. Does any member wish to give notice of a motion? Notice of a motion. Thank you. Honorable Pambos Pugwana. Yes, notice of a motion.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a notice of motion that this House notes that the national government is responsible for the maintenance of water infrastructure like canals, weirs, and dams. Further notes that recently, however, the Western Cape Province had to divert about 75 million of disaster relief funds cabinet allocated to the province to pay for essential maintenance of the canals leading to Full-Flay Dam, which is the national department's responsibility. Further notes the Clan William Dam wall needs to be raised, another national department responsibility. This House debates the state of water affairs in South Africa, taking consideration of the impact of climate change and unpredictable rainfall received nationally, and resolved to call upon the National Department of Water and Sanitation to conduct an urgent investigation into the financial affairs of its national and provincial departments and state-owned entities, as well as an examination and reports its findings to this House. I so move, Honorable Chairperson. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Lond. Why are you here? Honorable Manopule.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of African National Congress, I hereby give notice that in the next sitting of the Council, I shall move that the Council knows and debates human trafficking in South Africa, especially the increased number of women and children who continue to fall prey to human trafficking. And further knows that in 2013, the Times newspaper estimated that about 30,000 children and thousands of women are trafficked in South Africa, and 50% of the 30,000 of the children are under age of 14. I so move, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby give notice that in the next sitting of Council, I shall move that Council notes that the month of August is dedicated to pay tribute and honor the tireless efforts, leadership, and sacrifices of women in our society. Further notes that this month is dedicated to pay tribute to the thousands of women who marched to the Union Building on the 9th of August 1956 in protest against the extension of past law to women. Further notes that this historic march was a turning point in the struggle for a non-racial, a non-sexist, and democratic South Africa, and takes this opportunity to pay homage and honor all the women of South Africa for their tireless effort and leadership in the advancement and transformation of our society. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Kaula.
Ngiyathokoza sihlalo hloniphekile. On behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I move a notice of a motion that the House debates the continuing incidents of racial discord which keep on hanging the country's efforts of social cohesion to ransom. Noting that social cohesion efforts have not as yet yielded successful positive results on this issue, also noting the sometimes heated racial exchanges even amongst the members of parliament themselves in both houses of parliament, also noting some protest actions in communities, some of which are racially charged and racially motivated, the IFP calls upon all South Africans of goodwill who have the genuine interest of South Africa at heart to begin to play a role in bringing South Africans together at work, in schools, in sports, in churches, etc., and kickstart social cohesion programs that will heal this long-standing racial social divide in our country. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Zwane.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice that on behalf of the African National Congress, this council notes with sadness the passing away of Honorable Timothy Khoza in an accident that took place in Paarl on Wednesday morning when the Portfolio Committee on Education went on an oversight visit. Secondly, council also notes that the three other members of parliament, Nomalungelo Kina, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, as well as Ian Ollis and Cynthia Majeke, were also present in the accident, and they were admitted in the Paarl Medical Clinic for treatment. This council wishes them speedy recovery. And thirdly, therefore, we send our heartfelt condolences to the family of Honorable Khoza, who died in the line of duty serving his country, and wish a speedy recovery of those that were emotionally traumatized. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Makwebo.
Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a notice of motion that this House knows that currently in South Africa, public representatives in all spheres of government across political party lines are not safe due to intimidation or threats of being killed by those opposed to their politics. In June 2017, Councillor Xolile Gwangxu in Western Cape was shot and killed in Philippi East. The same month, Councillor Sfiso Mkhize in KwaZulu-Natal was shot and killed in a hail of bullets in the evening. In July 2017, Speaker Thoza Manjobe of Raymond Mhlaba Council in the Eastern Cape was shot 16 times execution style and was killed. And recently again, a number of councillors in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan have received death threats. The House therefore calls for a debate on political killings in South Africa to address measures required to ensure that public representatives are allowed to discharge their duties without fear of assassination. Therefore, this House resolves to call for a special investigation into these matters, and that we extend our deepest condolences to the victims' families. I so move.
Thank you. Does any member wish to move a motion without notice? Honorable Wana.
Thank you, Chairperson. The African National Congress has instructed and hereby move without notice that the Council notes the great shock that on the 18th of July 2017, a day we were celebrating the life of our international icon, Tata Nelson Mandela, turned into a cold and soulful day as we received the shocking news of the passing of two of our young women leaders, Comrade Toza Manjobe and Comrade Spogas Nkele. Also note that Comrade Spogas Nkele, who has served as a council speaker in a Ngobo local municipality, passed on the following of a short illness. 3. Further note that Comrade Jobe served as the council speaker of Raymond Mhlaba local municipality and was cold-blooded gunned down with 6 bullets by the unknown while coming from the community meeting in Fort Beaufort, where she resides. Further note that both councillors have been laid to rest last weekend and therefore call upon the law enforcement agencies to leave no stone unturned and apprehend the murderers and the perpetrators. May their souls rest in peace. So I move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Khai.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move that the Council knows that the Minister of Finance unveiled the government's inclusive growth plan to grow the economy. Also note that the 14-point plan action plan aims to lift the economy to a higher growth path through rebuilding business confidence and staving off the risk of a downgrade on local bonds. Further notes the confidence of the Minister in achieving high growth as a platform to achieving a 3% growth that can go up to 6% and thereby addressing the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Therefore, commends the Minister on this progressive recovery plan with targets and timelines for each intervention that is assigned to the different ministers. I so move.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Keila.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move without notice on behalf of the United Democratic Movement that the House notes with the sadness the recent passing away of the Methodist Church of South Africa Bishop Thembinkosi Vandeleki, who died in his car after a gunshot wound on Monday night, the 31st of July. Further notes that he was a serving bishop of the Methodist Church of South Africa, Clarkbury District, which has a head office in Umtata. Recalls that the murder of Bishop Vandeleki comes just 4 years after another popular priest, the Reverend Sibongile Bongana, was shot 13 times in full view of his young daughter in Umtata in July 2013. And the murderers were never arrested. Acknowledge that the death of Bishop Vandeleki is a huge loss to his wife, Cindy Swa, children, to the church as a whole, and the district municipality of OR Tambo, as he was a pillar and contributed to the development of the chaplaincy in this district. Expressed its condolences to his wife, children, family, and the entire Methodist Church of South Africa, as well as the friends and colleagues of the late Bishop Thembinkosi Vandeleki. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Makwebo.
Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that the Council notes that the 4th annual Mandela Tribute event, a celebration of Nelson Mandela's life as a boxer and a boxing enthusiast, organized by Klaba Promotions and Events, saw hundreds gather at East London International Convention Center in the Eastern Cape on Friday, the 28th of July, 2017. Mtanzane homeboy Luzuko Lamati fought against a tough opponent, Louis Mendeles of Colombia for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Junior Featherweight crown, but Lamanti, like a true Eastern Cape warrior, was equal to the task and defeated Mendeles. He was crowned IBF Intercontinental Junior Featherweight champion over the weekend. Honorable Chairperson, Ludumo's victory is the story not only of boxing talent in the Eastern Cape that is so immense, but a triumph against adversity, as some boxers in the Eastern Cape train at the back of their shacks with no proper gymnasium or sporting facilities. Therefore, congratulate Ludumo and Klaba Promotions and wish them more successes as they prepare to continue to conquer the world of boxing, and I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Chabangu.
I rise on behalf of economic freedom fighters that the House note that in May 2013, a company called Estina, which is linked to the Gupta family, was given a farm and millions of rands by the Free State provincial government. I further note that in the funding of this project, supply chain management was not followed. Further note that despite supply chain management not being followed, the project was supported by the Premier of the Free State, Ismail Khashule, and the provincial legislature. I further acknowledge that the Provincial Department of Agriculture claimed that Estina, the Indian company, Paras, were involved jointly in the project, and Paras had committed money to the project, but a spokesperson for Paras Dairy denied this claim. Further acknowledge that deeds show that Estina received 99-year lease on the farm, which is investigation suggests was free of charge despite many poor dispossessed South Africans having no access to the land. I note that the National Treasury Unit dedicated to public-private partnership, of which the farm is one, did not approve the dairy project, and the Free State provincial government did not seek the required permission for the project. I acknowledge that a National Treasury investigation found the dairy project had many irregularities, with one of the investigators stating that Estina is using government money to establish a plant, putting cows on the land that is given by government rent-free. Now they get to make a fortune of the infrastructure. I know that the EFF opened a case against
Honorable Shabangu.
Mr. Zwane and the Estate MC, Agriculture and the Premier. I condemn all form of corruption. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's this now?
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Ngwenya.
Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the EFF to make a motion without notice. The Economic Freedom Fighters would like to send its condolences to the Khope family in Dobsonville, Soweto, for the loss of their 19-year-old son, Tuto Khope. Tuto passed away on the 26th of July 2017 after enduring emotional abuse at the hands of his principal, Mr. Madabi, at Forte High School in Dobsonville. The same principal who is now refusing Tuto his last dignity of being given a proper send-off by his fellow students and friend by forbidding them to hold a memorial service in honor of his life. Rest in peace to Tuto. Justice will surely be done for you. So I move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Kaula.
On behalf of Inkatha Freedom Party, I move that the House wishes well Team South Africa, which departed on Monday, 31st July 2017, for the IAAF World Championships in London, starting tomorrow, Friday, the 4th of August. Team South Africa includes 7 national record holders: Akani Simbini, 100 meters, Wade van Niekerk, 200 and 400 meters, Antonio Alcana, 110 meters hurdles, Luvuyo Manyonga, long jump, Lebogang Shange, 20 kilometers walk, Karina Horn, 200 meters, and Caster Semenya, 800 meters, who all have a great potential to come back home as world champions. We all say to them, go out there and make us proud. Phambili, Team South Africa, Phambili. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mtetwa.
On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that the African National Congress held a very successful national policy conference in Johannesburg on the 30th June to 5 July. Also note that the conference was characterized by robust and constructive engagement by the branches of the ANC that are building blocks of this glorious movement. Further note that the ANC emerged as a united force out of the conference, with radical socio-economic transformation and inclusive ownership being some of the main talking points. Therefore, congratulate the ANC and a very successful policy conference that will be very influential in the government's policy direction. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Mampuru.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the ANC, I hereby move without notice that Council notes that South Africa commemorates Women's Month in August as a tribute to the more than 20,000 women who marched to the Union buildings on 9 August 1959 in protest against the extension of past laws to women. Also notes that Women's Month is a tribute not only to the thousands of women who marched in 1956, but also a tribute to the pioneers of the women's movement in this country. Further notes the high number of incidents of violence against women in our country, especially during this important month in the history of the women's struggles in our country. Therefore, calls on all the role players to engage seriously with the impact of gender on people's life changes and opportunities, and to make sure that women play an active role in contributing towards the future development of the country. I so move, Chairperson.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Teplanch.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a motion without notice that this House condemns the shooting of Sisi Ntate by a farmer while she was collecting firewood on a farm near Zeerust, leaving her wounded by the bullet, which after striking her on her left arm went through her chest. The farmer Kisang Marakeng was arrested and appeared in the court on a charge of attempted murder. This House conveys its sincere condolences to the Ntate family. I so move. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Qimbi.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the Council notes that the residents of Imizamo Yethu protested against the city of Cape Town because they were demanding services after their houses were destroyed by fire in March. Also notes that the people of Imizamo Yethu have been victims of fire every year because of conditions they are living in and the non-responsiveness of the city of Cape Town. Further notes that the people have been accommodated in 3 by 3 meter corrugated iron structures on a nearby sport field, and these structures are not rain-proof. Therefore, calls on the city of Cape Town to fast-track the process of building houses for the people by availing land close to the place of employment instead of selling it to big businesses. I so moved, Chairperson.
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable members, in light of what happened yesterday and the motion that was moved by Honorable Zwane, order members, I request that, as we are aware that in the line of duty, whilst honorable members of the House of the National Assembly were going to Pali, the incident happened and we lost one member of parliament. So just to stand up and observe a moment of silence. Thank you. We now come to the motion on the order paper as printed in the name of the Chief Whip, Acting Chief Whip.
Honorable Chair, I move that in terms of the Rule 21(2) and in the interest of enhancing public participation, conducting oversight and providing a platform for consideration of issues affecting provinces as provided for in section 24(4) and 7(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa 1996, the Council resolve to from 21 to 25th of August, conduct public hearings, hold meetings and conduct oversight visit and sit in plenary in the province of the Free State on the 25th August 2017 at 9 o'clock until the conclusion of the business of the day. And the council knows that the estimated cost of effecting the change in the venue and maintaining it for the specified period will be approximately 6 million. I move.
As there is no speakers list, I shall now put the question. The question is that the motion be agreed to as the decision is dealt with in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. I shall first ascertain whether all delegation heads are present in the chamber to cast their votes. We do have all heads of delegations. In accordance with Rule 7(1), I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. I shall do it in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape support, Chair.
Free State.
Free State support, Chair.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal esekela sihlalo.
Limpopo.
Limpopo idumela pero modulasetulo.
Mpumalanga.
Impumalanga iyavuma sihlalo.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees, Chair.
Northwest.
Agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
Vote against it.
8 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the motion agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Security and Justice, draft notice, declaration of amnesty in terms of section 139 of the Firearms Control Act number 60 of 2000.
Honorable Qimbi, Chairperson of the Select Committee, Security and Justice.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson and our visitors in gallery, good morning. Chairperson, this National Council of Provinces referred the draft notice, declaration of amnesty in terms of Section 139 of the Firearms Control Act No. 60 of 2000 to the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 8th of March 2017. Chairperson, the purpose of draft notice or declaration of amnesty in terms of Section 139 of the Firearms Control Act No. 60 of 2000, the Minister of Police may, by notice in the Gazette, declare an amnesty if the amnesty may result in the reduction of the number of illegal possessed firearms in South Africa, and it is in the public interest to do so. Chair, purpose of Firearms Control Act 60 of 2000 is to remove illegally possessed firearms from the society. Proviso of amnesty as per Section 139. Declaration of amnesty may result in the reduction of the number of illegal possessed firearms in South Africa. 2, a person who surrenders a firearm or ammunition in compliance with the notice is indemnified against prosecution, and previous amnesty held significant result in South Africa. The South African Police Service briefed the Select Committee on the draft notice, declaration of amnesty, on the 21st June 2017. The then Minister of Police, Honorable NPT Nhleko, declared an amnesty scheduled for 1st April 2017 to the 30th of September 2017. But the draft notice was only tabled in Parliament on the 8th of March 2017, and Parliament was unable to consider the matter before the end of the first term. Section 139(2) of the Firearms Control Act 60 of 2000 also provides that such amnesty will only be valid if it is approved by Parliament. The amnesty must specify the period during which persons may apply for amnesty and must specify the conditions under which amnesty may be granted. The current period of the draft notice, declaration of amnesty, applied for is 1st August 2017 to 31st January 2018. 1, a written application for amnesty by an applicant must be handed in at a police station, and the application must state the full names, identity number, and the residential address of the applicant, as well as identifying the firearm and ammunition. 2, the firearm must be surrendered to a member of police on duty at a police station, who must issue a receipt for the firearm and ammunition. Should the applicant for amnesty wish to apply for a license for the firearm or ammunition, such an application must be lodged within 14 days from the date of surrendering the firearm, and firearm will be ballistically tested. Chairperson, South African Police Service noted during previous amnesty period that 1, forecast operations during amnesty periods resulted in increased number of firearms surrendered. And 2, firearms could be surrendered at any police station in South Africa. 3, police officials were briefed on conditions of amnesty. Various communications and public awareness campaigns were conducted, and during of amnesty period of 6 months, yielded better results. Chairperson, SAPS will further embark on an awareness-raising campaign in order community members to be aware of the amnesty, and the campaign will entail the following slogans and messages. Surrender illegal firearms ammunition at your local police station from 1st August 2017 to 31st January 2018. Firearm Amnesty 2017 is an opportunity not to miss. These slogans are messages will be communicated. These slogans will be communicated to the public via media briefing, through print and electronic media updates, media tours, and social media platforms. SAPS will proceed with the awareness-raising campaign prior to Amnesty 2017, during Amnesty 2017, and post-Amnesty 2017. Chairperson, the Select Committee on Security and Justice, having deliberated on consider the subject of the draft notice, declaration of amnesty in terms of Section 139 of the Firearms Control Act No. 60 of 2000, referred to it, reports that it has agreed to the draft notice, the declaration of amnesty, and recommends the Council to approve the said notice. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Let me first take this opportunity to welcome and acknowledge Blowback International learners and the educators. They are present. You are welcome in Parliament. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question. The question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. All provinces. Yeah, Western Cape, declaration of vote.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Chairperson. In a country that is facing high incidence of crime, we will support initiatives that would see the number of illegal firearms being reduced. However, as was the case in the past, the firearms amnesty does not in reality serve the purpose of motivating the real criminals to hand in their firearms and is therefore to a large extent a futile exercise. The Minister of Police needs to understand that this is not nearly good enough an effort to address the crime situation in our country. A further concern is the question of what happens to the firearms that civilians do turn in that ends up in SAP's hands. In this regard, we call upon the Minister to ensure that these weapons do not end up being used for illegal activities by servicemen and women, and that such activities be dealt with in the most serious terms. Having noted our concerns for the positive role that it does play with regards to honest and law-abiding citizens, we support this report.
Thank you. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. I shall do this in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape support, Chair.
Free State.
Free State support, Chairperson.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal isekela kakhulu sihlalo.
Limpopo.
Limpopo itumelana le pero.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support, Chair.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest.
Concur, Chair.
Western Cape.
Siyaxhasa.
Thank you. 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The secretary will read the second and the third orders of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Education and Recreation, joint oversight visit with the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training to Gauteng. Consideration of report of Select Committee on Education and Recreation, oversight visit to the Pixley Ka Seme district, Northern Cape.
Honorable Zwane, Chairperson of Select Committee on Education and Recreation.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is the statement of the oversight that was conducted jointly by the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education in the National Assembly and the Select Committee on Higher Education and Recreation and the NCOP from the 17th to the 21st October 2016. Oversight plays a pivotal role in building and maintaining a democracy. It is a central aspect of accountability in a democracy. These oversight visits give members an opportunity to get more information on issues that are raised on the grounds when they meet with the members of the public. They also have an opportunity to ask direct questions on the ground and also give community members the opportunity to approach them on issues that are raised. The joint oversight visit was conducted by the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training, as well as the Select Committee on Education and Recreation. On the 17th to the 21st October 2016, the post-school education and training sector is making steady progress in addressing a vast issues that are faced by this sector. The objective of the oversight was to ensure that the 2016 academic year is saved and also to strengthen the dialogue to enable both the new entrants to institutions in 2017 and allowing graduates to be placed in much needed skill skills in 2017. The committees also met with the following bodies: Council for Higher Education, Universities South Africa Forum, Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, the National Students Aid Scheme, the Higher Education Parents Dialogue, Business Unity South Africa, the South African Union of Students, the National Business Initiative, and the National Board of Convocations and Alumni. With the University of South Africa, the issue that was raised was that the ongoing disruptions caused by protesting students at universities was highly regretted, and it was becoming too expensive for the sector. And it would have made it even almost impossible for the learners that were supposed to be taken care of in terms of accessing higher education. The Council for Higher Education raised issues like it is important to invest in the youth to develop their full potential. There is need to increase the number of capable and competent graduates, and concerns were raised about unequal patterns to access higher education, legacies of inequality, which continued to weigh heavily across all sectors of society, and the existing challenges of access, equity, and quality. Higher Education Parents Dialogue raised the issues of universities not communicating with them directly, rather communicating only with the students, and they get to be left out of what is actually happening in universities. Business Unity South Africa raised the issue that they are prepared through the Youth Employment Accord to create job opportunities for the youth to the tune of about 500,000 jobs. They also noted that there are a number of business executives that are serving university councils in their capacity as individuals or collectively, and various processes have been used to engage the students with a view to ensuring that the academic year is saved. South African Union of Students raised the issues of the fact that they cannot accept the fact that there are students that can be excluded from accessing higher education on the basis of financial constraints, and that those in the system should be allowed to access their academic records and complete their degrees. SAUS also was concerned about legitimatization of unelected structures that were also not provided for in the legislation or university statutes, but were able to submit memoranda to university officials, and those memoranda were considered. SAUS also noted that universities should not rush for court interdicts when confronted by student protests. They demanded that the students that had been arrested should be released, as it would be unfair for them to miss their studies during the academic year. The university infrastructure, or those students that were involved in the destruction of the university infrastructure, should face full might of the law. The vice-chancellors, in partnership with students, should find amicable solution to the problems in the institutions of higher learning. And private sector should be able to take care of students with historic debts. The National Board of Convocations was formed by an advisory committee that is inclusive of academics who would advise the NPCA on higher education matters. The composition of the organization was aimed to be more inclusive in terms of gender and race. The vision of the organization was to have a board inclusive of all role players in the higher education terrain. The position of this board was that teaching and learning should continue at universities, and violence and the destruction of property is strongly condemned. The Vice-Chancellor Forum that was represented by Professor Habib of West University expressed disquiet about the fact that students did not want the presence of police to ensure safety in the institutions of higher learning, and that there was disagreement each time there was a meeting about the removal or the presence of police in the institutions of higher learning. The students demanded that the university campuses are centers of learning, and they get frustrated if there is a heavy presence of police officials. There was a proposal for a multi-stakeholder forum that would start in December up to January 27 to make the way forward for higher education to prevent students from engaging in protests in a way that is recurring. In conclusion, the objective of the meeting and the interacting with various key role players in higher education with regard to the ongoing disruptions in the institutions of higher learning was met. The ANC supports the recommendations made, as these allow for better education and enhancing the roles of role players in ensuring that higher education goes smoothly each year. Thank you. I presented the report to the NCOP for adoption. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in respect of the second order. The question is that the report be agreed to in relation to the second order. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. I shall do this in alphabetical order per province. We're dealing with the second order. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape support, Chair.
Free State?
Free State, amohela Chairperson.
Gauteng?
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal agrees, Chair.
Limpopo?
Limpopo yamre.
Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga yaseka, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape supports.
Northwest?
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape?
Die Weskaap stem saam.
9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in respect of the third order. The question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall allow provinces to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to voting. I'll do it per alphabetical order per province. Eastern Cape,
Eastern Cape support.
Free State,
Free State support, Chair.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu-Natal,
KwaZulu-Natal siyayisekela sihla.
Limpopo,
Limpopo yamukela.
Mpumalanga,
Mpumalanga iyaseka Chair.
Northern Cape,
Cape supports Chair.
Northwest,
We agree.
Western Cape,
Eastern Cape agree.
9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the fourth order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Education and Recreation, Oversight visit to Limpopo.
Honorable Zwane.
Chairperson, what is the order? I didn't hear the order.
Eh?
I did not hear the order.
What?
Is it a report?
Yeah, the debate.
The
You are
debate,
refer-
okay.
the report of the Select Committee on Education, but it's going to be a debate.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Now I'm clear. No, I didn't hear the order. That is all that is into it. Chairperson, thank you. On the 53rd conference of the African National Congress, Congress noted that there is a general agreement that education has to be protected from disruptions. Disruption of schooling through industrial action and service delivery protests have got a negative impact on the stability of schools and the quality of education.
Order, Mama, order. Honorable Mokwele, you were doing so well this morning. Please keep it up like that.
What prompted the Select Committee on Education and Recreation to go to Limpopo was the disruption and the destruction of school property that was taking place as a result of protests that relate to service delivery. And they were not initiated either by teachers or students, and we had to go and actually intervene and get the information with a view to trying to bring about stability in that province. The focus of our visit, over and above that, was to ensure that we look at issues that are a worry to the schools or the Department of Education, issues that relate to the state of the school environment, the provision of teacher-learner support materials, whether there were catch-up programs in light of the fact that there were disruptions, the management and the availability of learners' transport, the management and availability of school nutrition to qualifying learners, the functionality of the school governing bodies and the school management teams, the state of the school infrastructure and ICT, and the availability of school furniture. Learners and teachers need classrooms, electricity and sanitation, security and recreation facilities. The National Development Plan, the Medium-Term Strategic Framework, and the Department of Education's Action Plan 2019 identify the development of infrastructure as a priority for the basic education sector. The sector aims to eradicate all inappropriate school structures and ensure that all schools are equipped with the necessary basic services. The structures are identified or are defined in the regulations relating to the minimum uniform norms and standards for public school infrastructure published in the Government Gazette number 37081 of November 29, 2013. What we found when we went to Limpopo with regard to the infrastructure is that there was a problem of the fact that schools were not maintained properly. The department did not have a policy in place to ensure that there is budgetary allocation for schools to be maintained. Even before the charging of the schools were not compliant with the minimum norms and standards, meaning that not enough budget was allocated in order to ensure that new schools are built, additional classrooms are given, special classrooms are put up. That was a problem. Our findings were also confirmed by the findings of the Auditor General, who actually testified to the fact that in Limpopo there was a problem where not enough information was made available during the process of planning, and as a result thereof, they were not able to assist with actually guiding the province insofar as the building and the maintenance of schools is concerned. The issue of the learner-teacher support material was another issue that was a little bit of a problem in the other schools that we visited. Nonetheless, one would appreciate that we did observe as a committee that in a number of areas that we visited, learner-teacher support material had been supplied, except the fact that in other areas there were complaints about the fact that it was not up to the required standard that the education sector would have preferred.
Honorable Zani, please take your seat.
There's no seat, Chairperson.
There's no seat. My apology. Please move a little bit forward. Honorable Zani, please just move a little bit backward. The Honorable Member Mokwele, my apology. They are still arranging the chair for the Honorable Member.
You can see there's the chair.
I'm the one who is chairing Honorable Mokwele.
No, I was just saying to the chair, she must tell us that 80% of schools in Limpopo don't comply in terms of.
Honorable Mokwele, is that a question?
No, I just want to check with the honorable member that she's willing to take a question.
Can we then check with her first?
Can you take a question, ma'am, through the chair?
Honorable Mokwele, what is the excitement? Mama, please. Thank you very much. Honorable Member Zani, are you ready to take the question?
During Christmas Eve, I will take a question.
She's not ready, Honorable Mokwele. Please take your seat. Take your seat, Mama.
Insofar as...
Take your seat, Honorable Member. Thank you. Continue.
Insofar as curriculum delivery is concerned, the committee observed that although teaching and learning had resumed in a number of schools, but in many other schools that we visited, we found that not much teaching and learning was taking place. And this was of grave concern. And Chairperson, there is a difference in a debate that relates to a departmental report that would have figures and facts, and a report of a visit. We did not have time to conduct statistics because, no, we only visited 8 schools in this province. You cannot form a generalization. You cannot form, Chairperson, a generalization in terms of statistics when we have visited only 8 schools out of 500. That would be improper. So we can't give certain figures. That is statistics.
Honorable Koni.
In terms of curriculum delivery, the other problem that we noted as members of the Select Committee is that there is little budget for education officials to be able to take the cars and drive into the schools. Particularly, the subject advisory services was lacking in a number of high schools because of budgetary constraints. And therefore, officials could not actually go to the schools in order to be able to give support to teachers. And also the subjects of maths and science were a problem in that.
Honorable Member Koni, please, we are not going to allow you to debate from the floor. You are allowed to heckle, but you're not supposed to throw the speaker. The Honorable Member Wana.
Listen, I wanted to remind those members that Chief Zwelithini doesn't like their behavior. Thanks.
Honorable Wana, you know you are out of order. You cannot stand up and do that. Please. Continue, ma. Oh. What is the point of order, Honorable Mokwele?
Honorable Wana must know that King Zwelithini acknowledge our presence in government and in parliament and what
Honorable
we are
Mokwele.
doing to the citizens
Honorable
of South
Mokwele.
Africa.
Honorable Mokwele.
That's why he honored us.
Honorable Mokwele, you know you are out of order. Honorable Mokwele, please respect the House. Continue, Mazwa.
The ANC-led government has always stressed that education is a societal issue. Therefore, we were happy as a committee to note that a number of key stakeholders were actually involved in ensuring that the protests that were there do not go further in terms of destroying a bigger number of schools. The committee was happy that there were different stakeholders, like the National Education Collaboration Trust. There were also other departments like COCTA. There were traditional leaders. There was South African Police Services. All came together and collaborated in ensuring that peace was restored in those areas that were violent protests. And we took note of the fact that when we engaged with some of the traditional leaders in their areas, because they are active and they are providing leadership in their areas, schools there were not affected. But in those areas where no firm leadership was provided, it was very unfortunate that those were the areas that were vitally affected. Insofar as the staffing is concerned, we regretted as the committee that in quite a number of schools that we visited, the principals of schools had not been appointed on permanent positions. And therefore, we gave guidance in terms of telling the MEC that there has to be an action that fast-tracks the appointment of principals, because we know that schools without principals cannot function properly. The issue of the non-negotiables, the president has always said that it is expected of the teachers to be in class, on time, prepared for their lessons, teaching and ensuring that the curriculum is covered. And it is expected of the entire school management and the school governing body to ensure that there is good governance in the institutions. We did take note of the fact that the school governing bodies had been trained and they were capable of running the institutions, and there was no shortage or limitation in that regard. But what also is problematic in the province is that we've got quite a number of schools that are non-viable institutions. So the rationalization of schools needs to be fast-tracked. Out of 301 schools that are non-viable, only 130 had been matched, meaning there's still a lot of ground that needs to be covered regarding the school measure and rationalization. The parental involvement has always been a problem in all the areas that we've been to. When parents are called to meetings, when there are problems in the school, or where they are called in order to have an engagement with teachers to look at the performance of their own children, parents do not seem to be willing to turn up, not only in Limpopo, but I do want to stress that it will be important for teachers and parents to cooperate when parents are invited to institutions of learning because there are problems or because they need to know what is happening or they need to support the system. They need to oblige because this is the education of their own children. No better person really can provide that kind of support other than the parents themselves. The issue of infrastructure, let me go back a little bit there, is problematic in that there are some schools that are built by National through the ASIDI program. There are schools that are built from the allocation that is given to the provinces. But there is a problem whereby the schools that are built by National, this has also been supported by the findings of the Auditor General, they are not quickly transferred to the provincial department to take care of them. And therefore, there would be problems that arise as a result of the fact that there is a title where it is not known whether it is National that is responsible for the structures or it is the province that is responsible for those structures. So there is a need for the Department of Basic Education nationally to ensure that once the schools are finished through the program of ASIDI, they are quickly transferred to the provincial authorities that are responsible for those schools, so as to ensure that the maintenance issues are taken care of at the level of provinces and there is no finger pointing as to who is supposed to do what.
Your time, Mama, has expired.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Team Pambo Shibukwana.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson Medikhale. Great honor for me to be part of this debate. Honorable Chairperson, according to the South African Constitution, Section 29 provides the right to education. Research has shown, Honorable Chair, that the country has one of the highest rates of public financial investment in the world. Also, the research has also shown that with quality education, individuals are better off equipped in today's tough work environment when proper education has been awarded. The importance of education in South Africa is specifically highlighted by the fact that the country has literacy rates of approximately 84.6% as a developing country. South Africa needs to invest more time in transforming the legacy of apartheid on the education system. A common factor that comes up most in this country is the access to this right, which is education. The bone of contention and the crux of the problem, Honorable Chair, contained in this report is the demarcation process in the province of Limpopo. And ironically, Chairperson, I wish to state it categorically. I was with my Chairperson, Honorable Chair Dlamini. The Department of Cocta was not part of the stakeholders when we were addressed by the minister in there. And that, for me, was a problem because we cannot address demarcation process with the absence of Cocta as a department because the chiefs were there. Social development was there. Department of Education was there. But the absence of Cocta was a big problem for me and forms an integral part of that demarcation problem, which is a bone of contention. Whilst we acknowledge and understand the people's right to demonstrate, we also believe that this right should be exercised in a manner that is responsible and in accordance with the law. We do not believe that one should be able to exercise the right in such a manner that leads to the destruction or either public or private property. Such an important right of demonstration should be carried out with due regard to the rights of other people, specifically in this case, the other learners. The banning of the number of schools in Limpopo is undermining the basic rights to hundreds of other learners who are negatively affected by these acts of arson. We also understand that it is important for us to look at the grievances of the learners in order to understand what has driven the learners to take such measures. After all, it is fairly reasonable to believe in the saying that prevention is better than cure. Ironically, the intelligence department knew of the uprising a year before, but could not do any preventative measures. We believe that the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs should have addressed the demarcation process in its entirety. Their failure to address the problem not only led to the negative consequences of schools burning down, but also created an unnecessary stress and expense for South African government at the expense of the taxpayer. It was found that the Department of Education's intervention and provision of 76 mobile education classes amounted to 17 million as per report. It is important to note that although this expense is quite significant, it will not address the issue. The department was running short of approximately 35 mobile units. The department has also contracted 3 catering services providers to deliver nutrition to schools in Vuwani before the community protest had commenced. The total expenditure of providing nutrition to Mastek, Makado, and Tivubeni ran up to about 100,000. Instead of using thousands of taxpayers' money to only now address the problem of schooling in Limpopo, the department should have focused on the issues and learning conditions faced by the Limpopo learners before strikes had occurred. During the oversight visit conducted by the Select Committee, it was uncovered that schools in the Limpopo area are facing a number of challenges. Some of the problems are specific to certain primary or high school, but the committee has found that most of the problems are common amongst the schools in the area, and educators were quite fearful to talk in front of their chief, fearing to lose their jobs. These problems included staff capacity, fencing around schools, especially in Vuwani, and the availability of adequate and qualified teaching staff. Another issue that plays into the employment of academic staff is the problem of contract renewals, Chairperson. It has been found by the committee that contract renewals are not occurring in time. As a result, schools end up losing the little qualified academic staff they already had. The rotation of senior management or lack of thereof is yet another problem that was highlighted by the committee. By rotating management, there is a higher likelihood for accountability to increase, as well as the chances of having fresh ideas presented and implemented. The late implementation of programs is a further issue that had been identified in the schools, and it was found that such implementation resulted in the department requesting rollovers. Finally, an issue that seems to be the most pressing and concerning one was the lack of water and electricity in some of the primary and secondary schools in the area. These two services are considered basic essential services that constitutionally should have been protected. By not providing schools with water and electricity, the government and its department is not only defaulting on the constitutional obligation, but it is also affecting the constitutional rights of learners to learn in an environment that is not inferior to the standards of other comparable public educational institutions. We look forward to the progress report due to be tabled before the committee within 2 months, and urge the department to make haste of getting our schools and the learners back on track with their curriculum in a dignified manner. One of their basic human rights may be sufficiently realized. I wish to state it, Chairperson, that there were second uprisings after the intervention of basic education, and the reason for the second uprisings, where Minister even said on radio, I've washed my hands with Vuwani, because she had also had enough, and her interventions and interrogations into addressing the basic lack of education had come into a certain level. I wish to state it categorically here, Honorable Chairperson. The second time they uprise is because there was no demarcation process addressed by COCTA. That was the most integral part to address the demarcation process. Not only the stakeholders that were there. In my committee, when we were addressed by the Minister of Education, COCTA was not there. Maybe in the other group, but in my group was not there. I thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Mpambo Shivukwana. Honorable TK Mampuru. Order, honorable members.
Modulasetulo, ke a go leboga. Ke le dumedisa ka moka. Ke rata go tlaleletša se modulasetulo committee a se bontšhitše go fa gore a departmental report e ka se tsoge e swane le an oversight report. Seo ke nnete ya mathomo le ya mafelelo ka gore ge re ka generalize ra se focus re tlo šalela morago. Honorable Chairperson, indeed, we as the Select Committee on Education and Recreation visited Vembe District, which includes Vuwani, after the violence that led to the burning of more than 20 schools and damage to more than 40 in total. We visited libraries as well as about 70 schools that we caught up in the violence. What we found on our visit is that the violence that led to the destruction of these schools was devastating. Learning has been severely compromised, exam preparations are seriously impacted, and there were thousands of pupils stuck in a state of paralysis, not knowing when learning will resume. In some schools, record of admission numbers and pupils' results has been lost. It was clear to us that even if learning were to resume swiftly and new buildings built, the crisis in Vuwani had dealt a destructive blow to an already struggling system. Modulasetulo o hlalositše fa gore le even before re ya kwa ro etela Vuwani re nyaka go lekola seemo sa thuto, kgoro ya tsa thuto e be e sa dira gabotse ka moka re a tseba ga se sephiri. Department of Education kwa Limpopo e bile under administration. However, there was also some resilience and fight for the right to education by some community members. These members made notable efforts to protect their children's schools, at least those that still remained, where teachers and parents took shifts to guard their schools. They did this despite the obvious danger that they faced from the hooligans and bullies that continue to burn the schools and thus destroy the future of the children of Vuwani, which we seriously condemn. The damage caused is well captured by Minister of Education, Mayor Angie Motshekga's response in her written reply to a parliamentary question in October last year, that it will cost more than 460 million to repair and rebuild schools damaged during violent protests in Vuwani, Limpopo. This amount included costs to rebuild, renovate, and repair the schools that were burnt and vandalized. So far, about 45 million have been used for the deployment of mobile classrooms. Out of all the schools, 7 schools have been furnished with a mobile classroom modular stool. Vuwani has also been declared a disaster area so that funds can be quickly released to begin rebuilding schools and providing alternative interim classrooms so that learning can proceed. However, the bureaucracy associated with government procurement processes is delaying the rebuilding of schools. But as I've said, utilization of mobile classes is an interim measure used to ensure that teaching and learning are not compromised. This augurs well with the non-negotiables that we argued the department to ensure that they were observed and implemented in schools. This included that learners and teachers were at school on time, that the teachers were teaching, covering the curriculum, and that principals were managing schools effectively. Modulasetulo, one school, Bafamadi Secondary School, has been rebuilt through the assistance from the private sector, in particular M. Shanduka Foundation and Zimba Community Development Foundation, as well as the National Lottery. We hope that this spirit of cooperative governance will be brought into the planning and accommodation process for the other remaining schools and into urgently fixing the other many schools in Limpopo that have existed for years with unsafe infrastructure. Modulasetulo ge ke bolela le wena ka nako ye, dikolo tše ka moka naga tsona di tsentšwe ke tše 10 tše e leng gore kgoro ya tša thuto ka kwa Limpopo e focusitše gore e ka di sociološa. Ge ke bolela ka yena mokgono, out of the 7 schools, di at 25% stage, di a agiwa, and the other schools, Department of Public Works, he appointed a consultant. Both the national and provincial departments should also be commended for their response to the crisis so far, together with the Limpopo provincial government and the houses of traditional leaders. The manner in which the collective response was organized indicates a level of cooperative governance as required by our constitution. Chairperson, it should be noted that before the violence broke out, Vembe district, where Vuwani is located, was the highest performing district in the National Senior Secondary certificate results in the province in 2014 and 2015. The violence that had the potential to tarnish this good performance by the Vembe district in 2016. Chairperson, however, surprisingly, the challenges arising from the violence didn't stand in the way of a strong matric results. Vembe still led all districts with matric results in Limpopo. The Vuronga circuit in Vuwani emerged as the top performing circuit in Limpopo. Edison and Ngensani High was one of one's greatest achievers and produced 100% rate. We want to commend all those involved, especially the learners and teachers who worked hard to achieve these results. Chairperson, in April this year, fresh violence erupted in Vuwani over the municipal boundary line, and schools were among the targets by these hooligans. Thankfully, this was quickly quashed. We want to take this opportunity to thank the law enforcement agencies for containing the violence so far and urge them to keep it that way. We cannot allow the hooligans to rob our children of their future in this way. We also like to call on the department to move faster in rebuilding the schools that were banned. We as the ANC support this report and implore this House to adopt it. Modula Stulo, dinomoro ka re di gopetse mola go modulasetulo wa komiti ge ya balfa a ke bontšhe gore dikolo tšeo di amelego ka kwa Limpopo ke tše 76 di-primary le di-secondary barutwana ke 29,220. Out of this number, 18,072 ke bana ba di-primary, 10,948 ke bana ba di-secondary. Re leboga maikemišetšo a ile gore kgoro ya sethuto ka Limpopo ile ya gokagana le dikgoro tša thuto le di-school governing bodies go bona gore bokamoso jwa bana ba rena bo tšwela pele. Molaetša go badudi ba South Africa kudu-kudu badudi ba kwa Vuwani ka districting ya Vembe, kgopelo ke gore a re thušaneng le mmušo wa rena go bona gore bokamoso jwa bana ba rena bo tšwela pele because thutelo bogolo ya roba. Ke a go leboga modulasetulo.
Re a leboga. Khunadi. The Honorable Diping Kwenya.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
The honorable members from the EFF, you cannot do that. Please.
My time, Chair. 6 seconds gone.
If you start, Ma, your time will be fixed. Start with the debate, it will be fixed. I promise you.
Thank you, Chair. I don't need your advice. Chair, I would firstly like to pay my respect to ANC MP Honorable Timothy Nkoza, who sadly passed away unceremoniously yesterday. Chair, while I could not stand here and talk about many of the same issues that my colleagues and other members of this House have spoken about regarding the challenges in the Vembe district in Limpopo due to the ongoing protests and the destruction of property that it resulted in, I would rather use this opportunity to speak to the fundamental challenges facing basic education in this country. For it would be foolish of us to think that the challenges facing education in Limpopo are only a result of the protests, because it is not. The fact, though, is that while there are challenges that are unique to the basic education in Limpopo, there are much deeper issues than this. Fundamentally, basic education in South Africa faces systematic problems which continue to perpetuate the unequal ownership of resources and accesses to opportunities that defined South Africa before 1994 and continue to define South Africa's education system and as a result affect our economy after 1994. Education in South Africa has from the days of Hendrik Verwoerd been an unequal one. This limited the ability of particularly black students to gain the necessary skills and education they needed to better the material conditions of themselves and their families, which coupled with economic dispossession, it meant that there were basically no means by which the majority of South Africans could live a dignified and a poverty-free life. It is unfortunate that we are still facing that problem now, even after the 23 years of democracy. It is why under the ANC government, South Africa has one of the worst education systems in the continent and the world, despite the fact that we're spending more than other African countries. Children continue to learn under open skies and in leaking roofs. Hundreds and thousands of children share toilets. Some are still using pit toilets as we speak. Some children go hungry, some are fed with unnutritional food, some are fed with expired food. We still have schools with 100 and more children in a classroom. The type of schooling system we want and shall deliver is one that makes sure that textbooks are delivered on time, children learn on full stomachs, children leave school literate, children who can communicate and converse perfectly in this country. Children have access to proper facilities and infrastructure. That we have quality teachers. Chair, can I please have the members qualified?
You are protected, Honorable Member. Continue.
Thank you, sir. We will ensure that we have quality teachers who are committed and dedicated, teachers who do not run away to go and teach people in the rural areas after they have used the funds of the taxpayers' money to be educated. Using our 7 cardinal pillars as a guide, we as the EFF shall establish a free quality education system which will nurture, educate, and socialize our children so that they can become meaningful, contributing adults who will help and bring the economy and society that will benefit all South Africans, not just the few. If we do not do this, the black majority will continue to suffer as the private education system gets better and the public education continues to deteriorate. This will have terrible consequences for the future of this country. Honorable Chair, we live for a South Africa that will have progress and not stagnation and children who are not equally educated in this country. We love our children. We want to see them educated. It is time that we sit and communicate and not sit and show and throw insults to each other. We must do it for our children and make sure that we make promises that we can keep. Implementation is important in this country. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkwenya. The Honorable Member Kaula. Order, honorable members, order. Honorable Mukwili, order. Continue, Honorable Kaula.
Honorable Chairperson, the House is today receiving and considering 3 oversight visit reports of the Education and Recreation Select Committee. Joint oversight visit to Gauteng on 17 to 21 October 2016, 9 months ago. Oversight visit to Pixley Ka Seme district on 31 January to 3 February 2017, 6 months ago. Oversight visit to Limpopo on 29 August to 2 September 2016, 11 months ago. If these reports are an important instrument in the role of Parliament in conducting oversight over the executive, why wait for almost a year before a report is considered? Surely, Parliament must have itself to blame when sometimes some powers that be in some quarters begin to take it for granted and either bypass or ignore the involvement of Parliament in the decision-making process. Be that as it may, the IFP has the following observations on the reported oversight visits. The crux of the matter in respect of protests at the universities is inadequate funding. Whilst the higher education sector has experienced a speedy increase of unprecedented proportions over the past years, this increase has not been matched by the same speedy growth of the financial support to the sector. This has resulted in a swift decline in per capita subsidies at the universities, leading to serious challenges of funding inadequacies. The IFP concurs with the conclusion that inadequate funding for the higher education sector has negatively impacted on the ability of the higher education sector to enroll more students from the poor family backgrounds. The Higher Education Parents Dialogue raised issues of poor consultation between parents and institutions of higher learning. They raised concerns of there being very little or no recognition at all by institutions of a role that parents can play in normalizing the abnormal situations in times of need. This is a valid point which Parliament government must seriously consider going forward. The very nature of student politics is based on populist behavior. As a result, during the heightened and hectic periods of the protest actions, populism overshadowed the legitimate elected structures in the institutions. The IFP considers the destruction and burning of property to be highly unacceptable during protest action. We always believe in peaceful engagement and peaceful resolution of disputes. It is thus regrettable that during the Fees Must Fall protests and the Vuwani protests, the institutions around the country experienced property losses amounting to billions of rands. In the same vein, the role played by the police and the other security forces did not contribute to resolving matters amicably. Some police action in some instances perpetuated the already destructive situations in their engagement with the participants. It is crucial that South African police must undergo serious training in how to deal with protest action and crucial situations in manners that are not destructive. We saw this happening in Marikana. Fees Must Fall campaigns were very close to giving us a repeat of the Marikana experience. Commenting on the Limpopo report, it will seem an already futile exercise as some recommendations thereof are water under the bridge. Safe to say that the IFP hopes that the schools that were destroyed have already been repaired and rebuilt as promised, at least for the benefit of our learners. At the wrap-up meeting on the 2nd of September in Limpopo, it also seemed like the locals already knew who the instigators of the perpetrators were. But this meeting was so skillfully coordinated such that some traditional leaders whom it was suspected that they would have volunteered the hidden valuable information to us were diplomatically excluded and sidelined from being invited to the wrap-up meeting. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Kaula. Honorable JJW Julius.
Thank you, Chair. Members and fellow South Africans, while condemning the destruction of infrastructure, it is also commendable that some efforts were made to get the education of Vuwani learners back on track. Chairperson, this report is not clear on real and long-term solutions to the education crisis faced in Vuwani. There are no clear recommendations of when permanent classes will be built. It is further commendable that 76 mobile classes were provided to these affected schools. And Honorable Zwane, I know you said there's no figures and so, but let me give you some figures. The worry is that the Education Department spent 17 million rand on these 76 classrooms. This amounts to about 223,000 rand for one mobile classroom. This cannot make sense. Chairperson, this is the hallmark of projects undertaken by the ANC government. They're preying on these dire infrastructure needs. Disasters are seen as opportunities to loot. Honorable Zwane, even if enough money is budgeted for infrastructure, a large amount gets stolen in the process. That is why the schools are in the state that they are today.
Please address the Honorable Zwane through the chair.
Honorable, through you, Chairperson, Honorable Mampure mentioned that there's 460 million needed to replace these schools in Vuwani. You know, if the Guptas were involved in building schools, this money would have been found to build the schools because all the money is directed towards the friends and families of the president. I agree with Honorable Sibukwana that the real reason for the situation in Vuwani is not addressed in this report and will therefore not lead to a lasting solution because Kokta is the real problem in here. The ANC have forgotten the people. If you listen to the will of the people in the first place, it wouldn't have happened. Now we must go there, spend a lot of money, go there and try to solve the problem. whilst the ANC is continuing with the problem, and I'll show you now. This unrest resulted because the ANC insisted to change demarcation boundaries. Although one can condemn the resultant action of burning of infrastructure, this problem could have been avoided if the ANC only listened to the people of Vuwane. But they will come back and show you, you don't listen to us, we don't listen to you. Unrest was further stirred when the president had to go to Vuwane for a community meeting. First, it was said that the reason that the president couldn't make it for that meeting, after people were waiting in the hall, it was said that, listen, the president feared for his safety by our weekend special minister of Kokta. And then it was also said afterwards that those people sitting and waiting in the hall for the president since the morning didn't represent the affected community. The fact is the president ran away. He cannot face the people of this country because of all the looting and theft that is going on. This is the disrespect the ANC has for the people of our country. Chairperson, we also have seen the newly discovered clairvoyance of the Minister of State Security, David Matlobo. This man can see in the future. This minister said he knew a year before the Vuwane unrest broke out that it would happen. How can the minister insult the residents of Vuwane so blatantly? The question is, what has he done to prevent these schools from being torched if he knew? Maybe it could be that the ANC knew what will happen a year in advance because they knew that people will not be satisfied with the ANC's selfish and greedy ways any longer. The minister now needs to enlighten us, Chairperson, on what will happen because he can see in the future. Tokoloshi, I don't know. The minister can see in the future what will happen. So he must enlighten us what will happen in 2019 when the ANC will be treated with the same contempt it deserves. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Honorable D. Stock.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, the Acting Chief Whip, Honorable Pakis, special delegates, members in the gallery, honorable members of this House. After the crisis of burning schools in Limpopo, the Committee of Education and Recreation paid a visit to that area. And as a responsive government, the ANC-led government made sure that it has to nip that problem in the bud. As we all know that the crisis was not only related to education, however, the education was affected in a bad way. And then mostly, it was approaching June examination time. On our visit, we realized that schools were behind the curriculum delivery, and we had to ensure that there is a plan to ensure that learners finish the curriculum before the final examination. We were happy with the stakeholders that assisted the department, namely, and I can put it on record here, honorable members, because of the distortion that was made earlier on, that Coxter was not part of us as part of that oversight. I was part of that oversight visit to Limpopo when we visited Vuwane, and Coxter was part of us throughout. And then when Coxter made a presentation to us, they never said to us, honorable members, because we must not come here and create an impression about our own stories because we're obsessed about the 2019 local government elections. Now we want to come here and create stories and want to put mouth in the words of our critical stakeholders which were part of that oversight visit in Limpopo. Coxter never said to us that the crisis of the burning of schools in Vuwane was as a result of the demarcation process. That was never said to us, honorable members. So if members, if some members of this House, they have conducted their own research, they have embarked on their own oversight, and they want to smuggle their report through this podium, I don't think it's going to assist us with anything. The Limpopo Department of Education had to prioritize the learning of students in the entire district. And also, we ensured that the department took steps to arrest the situation in Vuane. 74 mobile classrooms were delivered to 18 schools, and 2 mobile classrooms have to be delivered. The Department of Public Works also had to make sure that there was running water in all the schools. ESCOM also had to come on board and install electricity at the schools with immediate effect. The boreholes were also erected in the areas, and then some of the schools that were affected at least could have some running water. In some of the schools which were banned, the Department of Cooperative Governance, the Provincial Government of Education in Limpopo also had to create some means to ensure that in the meantime, whilst the schools were touched, at least the lives of ordinary school kids and school children are not affected tremendously. Honorable members, we as the members of this committee were happy that at least furniture were made available to the schools.
Please take your seat. Honorable Koni, why are you standing?
On a point of order, Chair, I would
What is
like
the
you
point
to
of
check with
order?
the member on the podium if he will gladly take my question in Northern Cape to Northern Cape.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Are you ready to take the question?
No, I'm not ready to take it.
He's not ready. Please take your seat. Continue, Honorable Stock.
We as members of this committee were happy that furniture was made available to the schools which were banned. The province still had a challenge of 301 small and non-viable schools. However, 130 had been merged, and also before other schools are merged, we need to have a thorough planning of transportation of the learners into schools. In terms of social cohesion, which was to be used to address the cause of the crisis in
Honorable
Vuane.
Stock. Honorable Mukwele is standing. Why are you standing, Honorable Mukwele?
On a point of order,
What
Chair,
is the point
you
of
know,
order?
we are getting 3 contradictory information from ANC members. One said there were no numbers, the other said there
then what is the
were
point of
numbers.
order?
Now,
What is the point
Honorable
of
Stock
order?
is busy giving us statistics.
What is the
Which
point of
one
order,
should,
Honorable Mukwele?
No, there's no truth in whoever that's
Honorable Mukwele, please take your seat, ma. Honorable Mukwele, please take your seat. You know you cannot debate from the floor. That has never happened, and it will never happen. Even today, it won't happen. Continue, Honorable Stock.
To illustrate that our work was not in vain, there are learners from Vuane who scored high marks in their matric examinations in 2016. These learners did well in the gateway subjects, that is mathematics and physical science. Before I conclude, honorable members, let me take this opportunity also to applaud those members who have made positive contributions in the debate today. And then also, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't have anything to say to those ones who came to this podium because they are obsessed about 2019 general elections. And I also don't have anything to say to those ones who have not said anything to those podium, who came here and then they wanted to grandstand. I also don't have anything to say to members of this house, some of them who came to this podium, and then they wanted to play to the open gallery because they are preoccupied about the successes that the ANC-led government is making. Honorable Shibukwana, like I indicated earlier on in my debate, I think we must clarify you because when we go out as honorable members, as select committees, to conduct our oversight visits, we go there as an institution.
Honorable Mpambo
We leave
Shibukwana.
out our party political colors. It's not a political matter. The situation, what happened in Vuane.
Honorable members, order.
And then
order.
when we went there as a select committee, we went there not as wearing our party political colors. We went there, all of us, as an institution, as the NCOP, to go and correct the situation because we are a caring government
Stock,
of the
Honorable
African
Stock.
National Congress.
Honorable Stock.
So when we arrived
Honorable
there,
Stock, please take your seat. I'm going to first recognize the Honorable Member Mokwele, and then you'll be the next because she stood up before you. Please take your seat. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele, you know you cannot debate from the, even if it is hot, the seat is hot, please, we cannot allow you. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele, you can't do that. Honorable Mpambo?
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
What is the,
Honorable Chair, please, I'm pleading for your indulgence.
okay?
Ndiyacela, can you please ask Honorable Stock to address me as Honorable Mpambo Sipukana because I belong to royalty? That Mpambo.
Okay, point of order taken. Please
Dumntana
take your seat.
egazi.
Yes, I'm gonna tell him now.
Ayifihlwa loo nto leyo.
Take your seat, Honorable.
Akufihlwa amakhuba kulinywa.
I have,
Madlo.
Honorable Mukwele, Honorable Mpambo, Honorable Stock, the Honorable Member Mpambo Shibukwana would want to be addressed as the Honorable Member. Please, I see another one standing. Honorable Member does not want us to come to the conclusion. It can be. Honorable Members. Honorable Members, please take your seats. And then what is the problem? Honorable members, the Honorable Mpambo Shibukwana was addressing me. She was not addressing. Please take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable members, I asked them to take their seat. Honorable Koni, Honorable Mampura, Honorable Zwane, Honorable Mutashuping, please don't be out of order. Take your seat. I still have to recognize the Honorable Member Kaola. Okay, your time will come. The Honorable Member Kaola.
Thank you, Chair. On a point of order.
What is the point of order? Honorable members, order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members from the ANC, order, please. Okay, continue, Honorable Kaola.
No, Chairperson, I'm on a point of order in respect of, it's not the first one, Chair. In respect of how our microphones are being operated. Before the Honorable Mukwele can finish what she is saying, already the microphone is off and we cannot hear what she is saying to you. Can this thing really be corrected, that the microphone is on until you issue an instruction from the chair? Please, Chairperson.
Honorable...
This thing has happened for far too long.
Honorable Kaola, thank you very much.
We are being abused here.
Honorable Kaola, thank you very much for raising that. If the honorable member stood up on a point of order, it must be on a point of order. If she is debating, I'm going to switch the mic off. She must just listen to me.
My point of order, Chairperson, is that it only needs to be switched off at your instruction. Not just somebody deciding somewhere.
Okay, Honorable Kaola, I hear you. I have a button here with me. If ever you rise on a point of order and I hear that you are debating, I'm going to switch this mic off. It's right here in front of me. I do have the right. Honorable Kaola, I've made a ruling on your point of order. Can you please take your seat and then we continue? Honorable Kaola? Okay, what is the position? Honorable members.
My order is...
Honorable Mukwele, can you please respect the honorable
member?
member?
It makes sense that the chair must first hear the member, what the member is saying before a decision on whether switching off or on is taken.
Okay, Honorable Kaola, please, as from now on, make sure that you put all of your concentration on the orders that the members are raising, because that's what I did. I did that. The Honorable Mukwele, do you still want to say something? Why? Okay. I'll come to you. Are you standing on a point of order?
Modula stilo ne? Modula stilo. Gare mo lekgotleng la go seshibitso kgotsa la go pitse di sule ya.
Honorable Mukwele, that's how I will then switch off the mic, because you're just standing. You are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order, Honorable Mukwele. Honorable Mukwele, please take your seat. Take your seat, Honorable Mukwele. Honorable Mukwele, take your seat. Take your seat, Honorable Mukwele. Honorable Mukwele, take your seat. Honorable Mutlashipping, then
Chairperson.
behave like we are in the house.
No, thanks, Chairperson.
Don't behave like we are in Lekgotla.
I think it is just in order and very, the respecting the decorum of this house, that when you make a ruling, you don't debate your ruling with a member. And that must be respected. That's the first. The second issue.
Order, honorable
The second
members.
issue, here we are not to consider any royalty, though we respect it, but we are all honorable members, and that must be noted.
Noted, Honorable Mutlashipping. Yes, it's a point of order. It is a point of order, Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mpambo. Honorable Mpambo.
Thank you, Chairperson. My point was, you don't pronounce the Spukwana and leave out the Mpambo part. That's where my point of argument is. It's not about whether it's royalty or not royal, but what I'm saying is, don't say Honorable Spukwana and leave out the Mpambo. It's a double, it's like Mpumzile Mlambo Ncuka. If you would say, the Mlambo being the maiden name, and the Mpambo is my maiden name and Supukwana my marriage name. It has to be pronounced simultaneously. And that's why I said I'm pleading for your indulgence, Chairperson. You should be taking the lead and teaching these honorable members. Especially
Thank you,
Honorable
Mpambo
Stock.
Shibukwana. That is why I did ask the honorable member to address you like the honorable member. Thank you very much. Continue, Honorable Stock.
Honorable Kaula, the three reports that we are tabling today.
Order, Honorable Zwane, Honorable Mampuru, Honorable Dlamini, please order.
Honorable Kaula, the three reports that we are considering today in the NCOP. Yes, of course, I agree with you. We are very late in terms of tabling them in the NCOP. But what we must not forget, we must always tell the truth where it hurts the most. Because, the assertion that is being tried to be created here is that, no, we're late, there's nothing that is happening, we're there 11 months ago. No. There's work that has been done in the area. Honorable Mampuru, in her speech when she participated in the debate, she says already there's 25% progress that has been made. The different stakeholders have been in the area to ensure that the situation is going to improve. So we are not completely late, because also in consideration with our parliamentary program, before we went to the recess, there was issues of the APPs and the different budgets of the department. So I thought we must also correct that. Honorable Julius, unfortunately we are not in the house, but I thought I must also clarify you with the teachings of one of our greatest philosophers and writers in the name of Albert Einstein. In one of his quotations that says that we must always try to avoid negative people, because they've got a problem for every solution. So, Honorable Julius, when you look at the problem,
The Honorable,
when you look at the
Honorable
solution-
Stock, take your seat. Honorable Member. Michalakis. Yeah, they can't see where you are. Please assist us with the sound.
Thank you, House Chairperson. House Chairperson, I just need to know, when did Einstein become a philosopher?
Honorable Michalakis, that is not a point of order. Okay, continue.
No, thank you very much. Honorable Julius, thank you very much that you are back.
Honorable Stock, the Honorable Isaac is standing. What is the problem?
Thank you,
Honorable Stock?
Chairperson.
Order, Honorable Koni. Honorable Koni, your member is standing. Yes.
Chairperson, thank you. Through you, perhaps you could just ask the speaker on the podium to quantify. I'm not sure if I understood him correctly. He made a comment, they have a problem for every solution. Is it that they have a solution?
Honorable Isaac, you know you cannot just stand up and debate. You have to stand either on point of order or if you want to ask a question. But if you're debating, I'm not going to allow you. What is your point of order then?
My point of order is that I would like, through you, if you could quantify with the speaker on the podium, Chairperson, did he say a problem for every solution or a solution for every problem. That is all, so that I can comprehend what he is implying.
Honorable Isaac, please take your seat. 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 Take your seat, Honorable Isaac. Honorable Isaac, take your seat. Honorable Isaac, please don't be out of order. Please. Continue.
Now, Honorable Julius, I'm happy that you are back in the House so that when we clarify some of the distortions that you made and also referring to your obsession about the ANC, you must be in the House. Thank you very much for your presence. I was still on the point about Albert Einstein, the quotation, one of the writings of Albert Einstein that says that it looks like some of the members in this House, they've got a problem for every solution. The ANC-led government the select committee went to Limpopo to provide a solution. We are coming back to the House and report on the progress that have been made. But still you have a problem. But you are not telling us. What are your solutions? What are your solutions? At least when you identify the problem, we are not saying don't criticize us. But when you criticize, you must always tell us, no, this is the solution that I'll be providing. Because it does not help. It does not help when you are always complaining. When we've got a debate on this particular topic, you come here, you speak about, you board us on the rules of the point of relevance in your debate. You speak about this family, that family. You leave important issues. So what we must teach you today is that when you've got a script in front of you, you must stick to it, so that you don't miss the important points. And it does not make you a better person to speak about things that you don't know or you have got little knowledge about them. It makes you to look very clumsy, and then it makes you to look like an honorable member who's not researching or rehearsing your speeches before you come to the House. On that note,
thank you very much, Honorable.
I would like to thank you very much.
Take your seat.
I thank you.
Take your seat. Take your seat. The Honorable Chabangu.
I was just going to say he must not address us.
You have
directly.
to stand up on a point of order, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, he must know that little knowledge is dangerous.
You see,
That
Honorable
is what
Member,
he
you
said.
are out of
Yes.
order. Thank you very much. You are done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Order, Honorable Members. That concludes the debate. I shall now put on the question. The question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote if they so wish. Thank you very much. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. I shall do this in alphabetical order per province. Heads of delegation will vote by pressing in favor. Honorable Kaola, we are...
How does it happen that the chairperson is asking provinces to vote on a matter where parties were deliberating? How does that happen? Provinces were deliberated and provinces are voting. Which is which?
Honorable Kaola, the status of the report allow us to continue like I'm continuing. If ever you have a question, Honorable Kaola, or if you are not satisfied, then you can always follow the procedure of writing.
Why did we debate it as parties, Chair, when now you allow provinces to vote?
Honorable Kaola, you know what to do. I continue. The honorable members will vote in favor, against, or abstain. I now call upon the provinces. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape supports the report.
Free State?
Free State amohela report
We
ena
have
ka
started
botlalo,
with the voting,
Chairperson.
Honorable Mokwele. Gauteng?
Gauteng agrees.
Take your seat. Take your seat. We have started with the voting. KwaZulu Natal? KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal, yes, Sekela.
Limpopo? Releboga? Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga supports, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape supports full.
Northwest?
We agree, Chair. We are fully empowered to do so.
Leader of delegation have voted. You are not the leader, Honorable Mokwele, Western Cape.
The Western Cape agrees with the report.
Thank you very much. All the heads of the delegation have voted, so voting is now closing. 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution, Honorable Kaula. Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. Please, after we would have adjourned with the House, the honorable members are requested to remain sitting so that they get a report on what is going to happen on taking Parliament to the people. The House is adjourned. The honorable members are requested to remain standing until the procession has left the chamber. Thank you very much.